Okay, let's just say it. Some of us have serious problems with Donald Trump. Forget the left and the media and their obvious and visceral hatred. I'm talking about people generally on the other side of the equation. Not all, to be sure. I mean, just look at his rallies. But some of us look at Donald Trump and we see things that we don't like. Maybe it's the out of control spending or personality, the gun control or the tariffs. Some of us, voted for J-O. Some of us held our noses and voted for Trump because, as I once heard it described, we believed he was the president we needed, not necessarily the president we wanted. There's a storyline that runs through many of the old Western movie classics. A small Western town complete with feed stores, banks, called Bank, and tumbleweeds is in trouble. The town has been taken over by thugs who are destroying everything the town used to stand for. The marshal's corrupt, the townsfolk are on the edge of starvation, people aren't safe in the streets. Something has to be done. The townspeople get together and somehow scrape together enough money to hire a gunslinger to save them. They don't go out looking for the person with the most stellar personality. They aren't looking for someone who is concerned with appearances or polite manners. They're looking for someone who is going to shoot first, ask questions later, and clean up the town. Barack Obama spent 8 years trying to tear down everything America stands for. He tried to make us feel ashamed of who we are. He told us that even when you have risen to become literally the most powerful person in the world, you are still somehow a victim, and that the people victimizing you must repent or face the government's wrath. Donald Trump changed all that. Forget about what you see on the communist news network. Forget it. Just like you should forget the projections from that same network that Joe Biden would win in a landslide. America has changed, and that has happened thanks to Donald Trump. The left is desperately trying to spin this election as a victory. It was a catastrophe for the Democratic Party. The Associated Press says Biden barely defeated a deeply unpopular president who was supposed to lose in a landslide. They lost House seats in an election cycle where they should have gained many, and they likely failed to get control of the Senate, which will, as a practical matter, make Joe Biden or Kamala Harris a lame duck president for at least the next 2 years. Their brand, which has lurched further to the left than at any time in recent memory, is in tatters. They show no signs at all that they see the freight train bearing down on them. I don't think that I can put this any more clearly than Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger of Virginia, and I quote, "If we're classifying Election Day as a success from a congressional standpoint, we will get fucking torn apart in 2022, end quote. Thanks to Donald Trump, far fewer of us are willing to embrace and support the Chinese Communist Party. Thanks to Donald Trump, more of us are standing up to the woke left and realizing that opposing their agenda does not make us racists. He exposed for all to see the political bias of the popular and social media and their revulsion at anyone who doesn't agree with their worldview. Donald Trump helped raise to prominence an entire industry of Larry Elders and the like, fed up with liberal dogma that, in their view, has kept minority Americans down to bolster the left's own political power. It's thanks to Donald Trump we can see clearly again, and this would not have been possible without him. In the old Westerns, when the gunslinger's job is done, outlaws are on the run, there's very often very little thanks left for the gunslinger. People want to forget the nasty, dirty job they brought him in to do. They want to forget the scars he now wears, acquired in their defense. Gunslinger rides quietly into the sunset. They go on with their lives, and in due course, they convince themselves that it wasn't really the gunslinger who turned the tide, but their own wisdom and bravery and strength of will. When he does go, whether now or sometime in the future, Donald Trump will not ride quietly into the sunset. He will go out with guns blazing amidst a metaphorical or maybe literal storm of profanity raging at the gods until his power and his energy are utterly spent. He'll do this because that's who he is. He'll do it because that's what we need. And I, for one, wouldn't have it any other way.